All right, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja, and I want to welcome you guys back to a Facebook Live. Today we are going to be talking about a question that Brenda Hoffman raised in the group. Had a lot of comments, and I don't just specifically pick someone out and show favorites. Although if you say nice things, I might pick you out because you're being nice. But no, I do it because there was a lot of comments on there. And when there's a lot of comments, it tells you that there is a lot of thoughts and there's a good response, and it's a topic that people want to know about. So the question is, my PCP just put me on, just told me to get off high fats because I have a gallbladder and fatty liver. Is this good advice? It's a great question because eating high fats are going to put a strain on your ability to make bile and secrete bile and make it squished into the intestinal area so that you can emulsify the fats and be able to utilize it. And so I could understand the thought process where, hey, if you have a problem with secreting bile and being able to store the bile effectively and then being able to squish it to get it out, when you eat fats, it could create a lot of disruption, a lot of pain, a lot of malabsorption, and potentially could it make it more fatty, the liver? Yeah, it could. But here's the thing: it's kind of like a person who doesn't have a job, and you say, sorry, I can't hire you. You don't have an experience. And then the guy says, well, how am I going to get experience if I never get a job? So that's the way I would explain that, in the sense that it's really important to understand what's behind the whole absorption of fatty acids in the first place. And it has a lot to do with bile formation. And bile formation has a lot to do with methylation. And it has a lot to do with your ability to make phospholipids. And when you have an MTHFR problem and you're not utilizing healthy B vitamins, or you're not able to use those B vitamins into an assembly line of factory workers that are able to make the end product, which is phospholipids, which are used as part of the main ingredient for making bile, then you're going to have a huge problem with your bile formation and your absorption of healthy fats. So the doctor was right in the sense that you can increase more problems, but they were wrong in the sense of not saying, hey, Brenda, you got lots more fish to fry going on here, that we need to talk more about getting upstream and addressing those things, versus me just saying get off of fats because it's going to cause problems. That's not healthcare. That's not wellness care. That's sickness-based care. And maybe just at some point you just want to get your gallbladder taken out. It wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, and you don't need it, so let's just take it out. And to me, I really feel that gallbladder surgery, although it's necessary when people have gotten to the point where there's stones, there's blockages, there's inflammation, and there's just not functional, they need it out. But in my opinion, it doesn't need to be taken out if you're doing things properly. It's the most preventable procedure that doesn't need to take place in the first place. And hey, Keegan, I hope you're doing well. Any questions you have, we'll answer them. So anyways, talking about this conversation has to do with first stress, right? Because I'm the stress recovery ninja. And so how does stress play into this? Well, when we have stress, we have more cars on the highway of energy production. So stress are the cars of energy production. Hey, Dan, I hope you're doing well. And if you have genetic susceptibilities like MTHFR, and you have a mom who had a SNP and you didn't have a dad, you're plus minus, you're heterozygous, you have a 4-lane highway, and it should be 8 lanes. If you are plus plus, you're homozygous, you have a 2-lane highway. and you should be 8 lanes. If you're negative and you have no SNPs, it doesn't mean just because it's 8 lanes it's going to work properly, because what are the cars on the highway? The cars on the highway are stress. The genetics are the lanes. So just because you have an 8 lane doesn't mean you're going to get to your destination faster than I am, because I may have less cars on the highway than you do. So what does that have to do with anything? Well, the highway that we're taking is the highway to be able to make phospholipids, which is one of the main ingredients in making your bile. And if you're stressed out all the time and you have more cars on the highway, whether they're SNPed 2 lanes, 4 lanes, or 8 lanes, doesn't matter. It's going to be able to slow the ability to make that be produced properly. Next thing we need to do is we need to have cofactors. So cofactors are things like B1, B2, zinc, selenium, methylfolate, methylcobalamin, magnesium, ATP. These are things that if you're eating a crappy diet and you're not getting good micronutrients and antioxidants out of the foods that you're eating, you're not going to have the toll to go on the highway in the first place. And the highway needs tolls. There's cars on the highway, stress. There's lanes in the highway, the methylation, genetic susceptibilities. And then there is the cofactors, which are the vitamins and minerals and nutrients. If you don't have vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, then that's going to be a huge problem. Let me give you a specific example where that's a problem with absorbing fats and having good gallbladder function and methylation function. And that comes down to hormone replacement. How many women, I'm not putting my hand up because I'm a woman or was put on hormones, but how many women by a show of likes or hellos or whatever were put on hormone replacement, but then we're told that they don't need to put any more B6 in their body because they were told properly that being put on hormones will deplete your B6. And when that happens, B6 is a necessary ingredient for your phospholipids to be produced, and that will cause precipitation, aka gallstones. And so now we're being made worse with a B6 depletion because of a medication. So what did the medication do, or the hormone do? Well, the hormone impacted the tolls of the highway, right? It impacted the ability to have B6 available, or it may be, so that's a toll, right? But it also was a car accident. So that's the fourth variable, is whenever you're taking a highway to the destination of phospholipids to be able to help make gallbladder support in order to absorb your healthy fats, instead of being told just, okay, don't eat healthy fats, and you want to get to the root cause of the problem, you have to address all these things. Number one being stress, cars on the highway. Perception of stress. Number two is the tolls, cofactors. Going on a hormone replacement or hormone blocker or birth control is going to deplete some of your cofactors that are necessary for making bile formation. So that's going to be the tolls. But also being on the medication is going to be a car accident. So that's the fourth thing. What was the third thing? The genetics, which was a 2-lane. Mom and dad had a home, SNPs that passed down to you. Mom or dad passed it down to you 4 lanes, and then no problem. So hopefully you guys, if this is making sense to you, just say yes. If it's too complicated, I'll go a little bit slower. But we're looking at the question of, my PCP told me to get off of high fats because I have gallbladder and fatty liver. And I would say, well, why do you have gallbladder and fatty liver in the first place? And probably not because you're eating high fats, because we have stress, we have methylation issues, we have cofactor problems, and then we have car accidents. So what are the car accidents? The car accidents are medications, birth control. The car accidents are folic acid, things like synthetic crappy foods. Car accidents are GMOs and glyphosates. The car accidents are medications, methotrexate. Car accidents are even hormone replacements. Car accidents can be even SERMs, and car accidents can be cholestyramine. These things will slow down the enzymes on top of the enzymes already being slow from a genetic susceptibility point of view already, and having lots of stress and having no cofactors. So hopefully by now you're saying, okay, what does that all mean? It means that you're not going to get to the end of the road, or at least the destination in this case is making phospholipids. So we see lots of reoccurring miscarriages with women that aren't able to make phospholipids, and they're put on folic acid still. Folic acid still. Like serious, how are they still put on folic acid? It just boggles my mind. Choline is what they should be put on. Creatine is what they should be put on. Phospholipids is what they should be put on. Stuff like that. Because that's going to pay the bills, so that now the stuff that's falling behind, the car accidents and the 2 lanes of highway and the cofactors and the stress, has some time to at least, like if I was your genetic pimp and I paid your genetic bills, you'd be able to buy some genetic shoes, right? So that's the same thing. If we're giving you phospholipids and creatine so that we're able to help make your phospholipids, and your assembly line doesn't have to work so hard to, it's like Lucille Ball at the end of the assembly line where she just can't keep up. Your assembly line slows down and it's manageable, and it looks at the end and says, oh, we don't have to fulfill that order. We have all this extra, items that we can sell on our own and have our own profit. And that's kind of the analogy I would use in terms of when you support your methylation, your stress response, your car accidents, which are environmental chemicals and toxins and pathogens and medications and so forth, and you support your car, well, that was the car accidents, and your stress, the amount of cars on the highway, and take the right supplements, you're ultimately gonna be able to eat more healthy fats. And you should be eating healthy fats. Because, hello, Mr. Doctor, my healthy fats are important for my brain function. It's not the lower my cholesterol is, the better it is. I mean, you guys would want to put cholesterol medication in the drinking water and get everyone below 100. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the things that I see. But I see more problems with low cholesterol than we see on high cholesterol. And that, again, is a methylation issue, a phospholipid issue, a ability to make bile issue. And if you're not making bile, by the way, bile is what flows the toxins out of the body, so you're constantly reabsorbing, and now you're wondering why your immune system's suppressed and you're always sick. Or you're immune, you never get sick. I'm healthy as an ox. I never get sick. Everyone around me is sick, but I'm not sick. But I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. I crash in the middle of the day. I have anxiety. Well, you're not sick. Your immune system's upregulated, and it's depleting your raw materials at a really fast rate, and you have nothing left to do anything. But guess what? You're not sick. I don't know if that's good either. So some of the questions that I see in here are fatty liver comes from high carbs, than high fat. If you have digestive issues when you eat high fat, then you could add some digestive enzymes with ox bile to help. So digestive enzymes are not necessarily going to help you break down fats. But so you corrected yourself there and say ox bile, but things like taurine, glycine, bile acids, and that's the thing that just drives me crazy too, is when a gallbladder is taken out, you're never told that you have to be on bile support, or at least it's a learned effect. So the better you control the stress, the cofactors, the car accidents, notice the only thing in there that you can't control is the genetics. You can't go inside a person and be Adam Man and change around their SNPs and say, okay, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to give you a normal. There's no heterozygous anymore, and there's no homozygous, and I'm going to fix both. You can't fix that. But yet we're all in the genetic test, like, okay, this is this is this. I got this SNP, that SNP, I'm CBS. But you know what? Guess what? What's going on with the stress response? Well, I don't want to know about that. It's boring. Well, what about eating healthy? I don't want to know about that either. Well, what about like the medications and the hormone replacement? Well, I don't want to know about that either. Just tell me about these SNPs here. The SNPs are the only ones you can't actually do anything about. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And anyways, it's a learned effect where you can take medication. You can take get fats in your diet and slowly get your bile flowing. Coffee enemas, I know a lot of people hate it, but they're really good at getting those bile veins and the bile duct and the bile flowing. And it's a paradoxal relaxing, stimulating your parasympathetic rest and digest system, and that gets bile flowing really well, and that's a really great thing to be doing. So anyways, other people put in here, I don't have high carbs. I count them because I'm diabetic. At this point, I'd be looking at even things, the worst things are high corn, like what's the modified corn syrup, or high fructose corn syrup. Horrible. I mean, those pass through when you get a certain amount, like I think your body can only absorb about 50 grams, in one serving, and in soda they have more than that, and that's just going straight to the liver, and that's causing fatty liver. It's a huge problem. So it doesn't just have to be from carbs, but from corn syrup, which is kind of I guess it's a carb. Also, what else did we have here? We had some other questions in here. I don't know. So if there's any other questions, I hope that was helpful for you guys. It's been a long day for me, and I promised that I would do this, so I'm glad that I did. Let me take a look here. So, hi Dana, I hope you're doing well, and no worries, Brenda. Hello to you. You're the one that we're doing this for. And then Angela, on hormone replacement, but I'm on the good BS now, not initially. Only after educating myself through research and people like you. By the way, gallbladder removal was before this, but was septic. Yeah, there's time. I'm not for not getting your gallbladder out, because it needs to get out when there's problems. But it is a huge preventative thing. I think you guys were saying it was making sense, so you're saying yes. Keegan, you said here, I'm starting to think that my IUD was more or less the straw that broke the camel's back, because it's soon after I started to crash, not saving. It was the only thing, but probably a big factor. I'm sure it was. I mean, hormone interruptions can cause a lot of problems. That's for sure. A relative had to have his gallbladder removed. Is there something he should do to counter it? Well, you should watch this video and then replay it 17 times, because that's what he should do. And then B vitamins. So yeah, if there's no more questions, I hope that was really helpful for you guys. I did see that I did post that video earlier about me saying something to a service provider that I went into today that had vitiligo. I should have really prefaced what I said first, in the sense that I was wearing my doctor scrub, so I wasn't just an average Joe, going up to her. I had my doctor scrub, so she knew I was a doctor. I do have a good antenna, considering I talk to you guys all day long on who's approachable and who's not approachable. And I asked her more questions, like if she does anything specific for vitiligo, or if she told me. So it was sort of a nice conversation. I didn't make her feel uncomfortable. She was receptive to it. Some of you responded that I was being totally inconsiderate, and most of you said that I wasn't, because you know who I am. But I wouldn't have just charged in there and be the guy at the corner and just walk by anyone who looks like they have an autoimmunity and say, hey, why is your skin so blotchy and what's going on? I mean, that's not how it was. So anyways, last thing we have here, Walter Williams. That's almost like Walter, the guy on Breaking Bad. What was his name? Walter White? I can't remember his name. So anyways, 18 millimeter gallstone was told nothing to worry about. So I don't know the actual sizes of them that are big concerns, but it definitely sounds like it's bigger than you want it to be. I'm not a big advocate of telling people over the internet to do the gallbladder flush procedures. There's a lot of books out there that talk about that, and that can create huge problems. You would want to do a lot of legwork before doing that, in terms of softening it, in terms of getting better dilation, better flowage. But it's a concern. I mean, everything that we just finished talking about, stress and cofactors and car accidents and genetic susceptibilities, and all the things that impact your ability to make proper bile function. But it is a learned behavior, meaning you can start to eat more healthier fats, and you should be eating more healthier fats. And then you may not need to use bile, ox bile support. Nitric oxide beets are helpful too. There's a good product that is made by Biotics, and it's called, what is it called? It's called Beta TCP. Thomas Charlie Peter, Beta TCP, or the Beta Plus. And those have, one of them has the ox bile, and then the other one has the lipases and the taurine. But they both have SOD and catalase, which I think is an ingenious idea when you're putting antioxidants in a product that's helping you basically make more bile and flow more toxins. It's kind of ingenious. I like that Biotics did that. So anyways, guys, I hope that was really helpful for you. And whatever questions you have, just post them in the link. Don't forget that I do consultations with you guys, but I do it with those that are serious. It's not show me your blood test and we go over your Dutch result. It's more like, where are you now with your health? Where do you want to be and what's missing? And I work with a lot of people that have done a lot of work and they're missing a lot of things. And they think they've tried everything, but they haven't. There's a lot of things that you haven't tried. And there's a lot of hope out there that you could be getting better. And what I want you to do is, if you think that there's something that's missing in your health that needs to be fixed, and you're really serious about getting it fixed, then I will put a link to it underneath this video, and we can do a 45-minute consult. There's no charge, there's no obligation, but you have to be serious that, you know, if we feel like we can help you, and we feel you're a good candidate for what we do, and you're the person who's decisive and coachable, but you realize, if I don't get this fixed, I'm never gonna live the life that I want. And a lot of people have that mentality, but then they get scared, like they don't think they can do it, or they start telling themselves that this isn't gonna work, or I've done this already, and those are the people that I don't want to talk to, because you have to be decisive. You have to be ready, like, okay, I'm coachable, I'm ready to get this fixed. It's more painful for me to suffer than it is to fix it. That's more painful. Hey, Maxim from Sweden, Stockholm, knock knock. Who's there? Is that a knock knock joke? So also Walter Williams, always hope around the corner. Yeah, and you know what? There's no time like today, not tomorrow. So anyways, guys, have a wonderful evening. I'll put the link to the breakthrough calls under this, and I hope you guys get a full recovery of your adrenal fatigue nightmare. Take care.